Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
I did the video recently about how AI lawyers won't be replacing me anytime soon. And Dennis sent me notes to Steve, check this out though. There's a robot lawyer on the horizon. A robot lawyer powered by AI will help fight a speeding ticket as it takes its first case in court. The story's from the New York Post. And Snyana Ferberov wrote this. And there are some issues here we have to talk about. The world's first robot lawyer will take a case in court next month with the artificial intelligent legal assistant helping a defendant fight a traffic ticket. The AI is billed as the world's first robot lawyer by a startup that created it called Do Not Pay. It will run on a smartphone and listen to court arguments in real time and then tell the defendant what to say via headphones. So in other words, the guy's going to go into court, or the gal, with a cell phone turned on, running the program, and the program through the cell phone will listen to what's happening in the court and then suggest to the person what to say in response through a headset that this person will be wearing. This all assumes that the person is allowed to bring the phone into the courtroom turned on and they're not stopped from doing that, and that they can stand in front of a judge wearing a earpiece without somebody noticing it and saying, "Excuse me, take that out." We'll get there. The unprecedented hearing is slated to take place sometime next month, but the makers of the robot lawyer are not disclosing the location of the court or the name of the defendant. Science and technology publication New Scientist reported that the ticket at the center of the trailblazing case was issued for speeding, and the defendant will only say in court what the AI instructs them to say. If they say it verbatim, there's a good chance it's going to go wildly off the rails. But should they lose the case, Do Not Pay has agreed to cover any fines, according to the company's founder and CEO, Joshua Browder. Now, of course, many of you are already catching the fact that paying the fine is only part of it. If it's a speeding offense with points associated, the person still gets points on their record, which, if they didn't fight the ticket, they could possibly negotiate away. So they are gambling by saying, I'm going to go in and fight the ticket with the robot and hope to get a better result than if I'd simply negotiated a deal with no points. The man behind this is a Stanford University-educated computer scientist. He launched Do Not Pay in 2015 as a chatbot that provides legal advice to consumers dealing with late fees or fines, and the company pivoted to AI in 2020. He said it took a long time to train Do Not Pay's AI assistant on case law, covering a wide array of topics, and to assure that the app sticks to the truth. We're trying to minimize our legal liability, he said, and it's not good if it actually twists facts and is too manipulative. Well, you know, if it were to go wildly astray on you, you could just hire one of your own robot lawyers to defend you. The AI app's software is adjusted so it does not automatically react to everything it hears in court. Instead, it will listen in on the arguments and analyze them before instructing the defendant how to respond. And the first question I have is, how does it know who's speaking? So let's suppose I'm a man. I go into court and the judge is a man, the prosecutor is a man, the police officer is a man, and people are speaking. How does it know who's speaking? Because it does change how you answer a question. The man explained that his ultimate goal is to have his app replace some lawyers altogether in order to save defendants money. It's all about language, and that's what lawyers charge hundreds or thousands of dollars an hour to do, he said. There'll still be a lot of good lawyers out there who may be arguing the European Court of Human Rights, but a lot of lawyers are just charging way too much money to copy and paste documents, and I think they'll definitely be replaced, and they should be replaced. Besides acting as a legal assistant in a court of law, Do Not Pay promises users to fight corporations, beat bureaucracy, and sue anyone at the press of a button. According to the man who founded the company, his AI begins by asking a client what the legal problem is, then finds a loophole and turns the loophole into a legal letter, which can send to the right institution or upload to a website. So it's looking for loopholes. Attorneys across America are chuckling. Browder explained in a promotional video that he started his company by accident after moving to the U.S. from his native UK. While in school, he began accumulating parking tickets, which he could not afford to pay, so he said he became an expert on loopholes that would allow him to get out of paying the fines. Hey, maybe you should learn how to park your car right. Okay. As a software engineer, he said he realized the tedious process of writing legal letters to appeal parking tickets could be automated, so that's what he did. He created a website where people could challenge their parking tickets. The goal of the company is to make the $200 billion legal profession free for consumers. So I have no problem with someone trying to do this. It'll be interesting to see how well it works. But fighting parking tickets on technicalities is one thing. Because everyone knows there's a couple things you can look at on a parking ticket to fight it. And quite often, simply fighting some things will get you results. I read another version of this article that talked about how his AI will also help you do things like dispute your cable bill and so on. But the bigger problem I have is that when you walk into court, for instance, if it's a civil infraction, okay, you might testify. So when you are testifying and you're in the witness box and you're sworn to tell the truth and you have an earpiece in and it becomes very obvious that you're getting your answers from somebody else, that's not going to go over very well. It won't. Now, I know some people are going to say, Steve, a bit about them telling you to turn your cell phone off and don't bring it to the courtroom, that's BS. They shouldn't be allowed to do that. Whether they should be allowed to do it or not, they do it. So there's a chance that this guy's going to get stopped and told, cell phone turned off, yes or no? And if he says, yes, it is turned off, when he gets called, if it's on, he could be in trouble for that. But let's assume that it gets past that point. And let's assume for a moment that okay, let's assume nobody cares, nobody notices, whatever. So he stands up and goes, Your Honor, I'm here to fight this ticket. Prosecutor goes, okay, we got the police officer right here. Call the police officer to the stand. And asked a bunch of questions of the police officer. Is this robot lawyer going to conduct a cross-examination? I mean, is it literally going to say, okay, I heard everything the man just testified to. Here's how you cross-examine him. I'd be curious to know how that works and see how it works, if it works at all. But then, simply, if somebody asks you a question, does it know the facts of your case well enough to tell you how to present your facts? Because as the guy pointed out, there's a problem with the AI possibly twisting the language and not being truthful. And there are some places where they can force you to testify on a civil infraction because it's not a criminal matter. So you may also choose to testify. So if you are testifying and they ask you a question, are you going to wait for the robot lawyer to give you an answer? And the interesting thing about this is the robot lawyer is at that point then doing something that lawyers don't do. I don't tell you how to answer questions, other than I give you the general instructions that listen to the question, answer only their question, and be truthful. That's what I tell my witnesses. That's what I tell my clients. And so I wouldn't say, okay, here's what I want you to say. And the question is that what the robot lawyer is going to do? So, of course, the man's running an experiment, and he doesn't tell us where it's being run, or any other thing that we can do to check on it. And so if they run the experiment and it flops horribly, will they publicize that or will they try again? That's what I'm also curious about. We might not ever know the answer to that. Somewhere down the road, I suspect one of these is going to manage to go into court and be checked out to see if it works or not. And I'll be interested to see the results of that. But there are certain things that are going to limit this robot lawyer's ability to practice law. One of them, like I said, simply can be the confusion over recognizing who's speaking. Because it's not like people are going to say, hi, I'm the judge, I'm going to ask you a question now. Yes, I'm the prosecutor, I'm going to ask you a question now. Okay, you are the witness, you speak now. Okay, once again, I'm the judge, I have a question. A prosecutor has a question. It's going to be voices speaking. And how you respond to the voices depends on whose voices they are. And so I know somebody's going to say, Steve, it's possible it can differentiate voices. And it will know how these voices are attached to people. How? Because when a guy is standing in court and he's wearing a police officer's uniform, I mean, I understand he'll get on the stand and say, I'm Officer so-and-so. But, I have my doubts about the robot's ability to do that remotely. I have no doubt that if you had someone sitting next to you who is running the software on a computer and a laptop and could indicate that question was asked by that person, that question was asked by that person, And now here's an answer that the machine is suggesting that you give in light of this. I can see that possibly being helpful, but at that point, you've hired someone to sit next to you. So we'll see what happens. Dennis sent this. Thanks a lot. From the New York Post, robot lawyer powered by AI will help fight speeding ticket as it takes its first case in court. First, it's got to overcome some basic hurdles, such as having the user wearing an earpiece with a cell phone running, which that alone might be a problem. But we'll also see how well it does interpreting the voices of the various people in the courtroom. Snežana Ferbarev wrote that. Dennis sent it. Thanks a lot. Questions, comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. Your best may not be enough, but if you give of it, you will have no regrets.